All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you fucking laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. You sweating, getting wet, all that.
All right, welcome to the 111th episode of the Drinking Partners podcast. It's the 11th episode. That's the Larry Fitzgerald episode because Larry Fitzgerald was a model of consistency, comes to play every game, and continues to be productive, like our podcast, which consistently puts out good content and records regularly. That is courtesy of Ed Bailey, who actually happens to be in the room right now.
Yes.
Hell
yeah, Ed. This is dope.
Shout out to Ed Bailey. He's slowly but surely making his way back to the cast, man. We're excited to have him in the building. I can't wait till he actually does this shit himself because I suck at it. If you listen to 110, you know who my guest host is. But we are on 111th, and my guest host is the same. It's Terry Jones from episode 96 and also 110. Say what up to people, Terry.
What's going on, y'all? I'm filling in for the legendary Ed Bailey right now. They Googled a black comedian in Pittsburgh, and they found me. So
That's how it works.
this is what I love. This is a great
Was
podcast.
Davon not available?
We don't
speak
man.
of
We don't
him.
say his name. That's
Nah,
just like
fuck that
Candyman.
nigga.
It's
Yeah.
like Beetlejuice. You
Fuck.
say that shit enough times and it fucking pop up.
Fuck him. He's a bag of dick.
Could he not get a shift off at the Starbucks he's getting fired from next week?
Oh damn! Pew pew. All kind of shots fired.
I'm pretty sure I've said fuck Davon at least like 18 times in
I
the
think
course of
you
this
have.
podcast.
I don't even say his name.
Yeah, no, sometimes he comes up and I just get Tourette's and I'm just fuck that nigga. Fuck. If you're listening, or if you know Davon and you're listening, tell him I said fuck him. You know what I mean, he blocked me on Twitter, so I can't say it to him.
He
like
blocked me too.
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter.
I love it.
After I, exposed,
And stole all your friends.
After I told everybody he was a fucking rapist. So if you're listening right now, fuck you, Davon. Fuck that nigga. I mean, it ain't. You don't get your name written on the bathroom wall as a rapist unless maybe you raped somebody. I don't know. Like it's not a thing that people. So yeah, it's a crazy way to start off the cast. But if you're listening right now,
this is not a representation of my brand.
Terry don't know what the hell he walked into. It gets like this sometimes.
I love it.
Ed, do you even remember how this shit goes?
What up, people? I was here for all positivity. I would shout out Davon, but it will fall on deaf ears at this point. But I will shout out everybody who supported me during everything I went through. I do just want to let you know that it is the fans as well as my family who got me through. I'm looking forward to getting back so I can keep, like Terry ain't been here for 100 episodes with Dave. You got to keep this motherfucker on track, man. When he get on his high horse, man, he done brought up rapists and all that. You don't say shit like that after you say Larry Fitzgerald. and second of all, when I send you these explanations, you don't read it verbatim, dog. I thought you was gonna put a little Bracey spin on it.
Nah.
I don't even text it in any legible form.
It sounded like that was the first time he read it.
It was. I just pulled it up.
But again, shout out to the people. Shout out to Terry for coming in and guest hosting and stuff like that. First episode was great. I'm gonna let y'all get back to it and bring on this wonderful guest we have.
Nice, man. Like I said, we'll be hearing more from him
The
earlier.
king has spoken.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. It's nice to have him in the building. That was a hell of a fucking recovery, man. That was just absolutely insane. Yeah. I need to just stop doing that for a little while. Maybe just get on some water for a minute. How do we make Drinking Partners a teetotaler show? Is that even possible?
I don't know. I'm the sober one, so like I've been drinking on this one bottle of water for this 2 episodes now.
I've already
Tyler Mountain.
I've already succumbed to it. early
My
death.
man,
I'm
Tyler
good.
the Creator's fucking spring water. Just sipping on this shit.
So if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play under Drinking Partners. And you can find us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at PartnersPod. Man, look, 111 episodes. We've been asking you. We're going to continue to ask you, man. Hop on iTunes and rate and review. That's how we know what we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well. And that's how we continue to do well. So please, hop on iTunes, rate and review. It takes you about 30 seconds. And if you do, you might get your review shouted out on the podcast, which is I'm about to do now. In fact, you want to read this one? Katie Smokes.
Man, I can't read.
Nah.
No, I got it. This one is from KT Smokes. Drunk, funny, and somewhat informative. These guys are great. Always drinking, cracking jokes, and occasional you will learn something. So I guess she meant occasionally you learn something. Always have an interesting guest with lots of laughs for all. Happy to support Pittsburgh podcasts like this. Shout out to Katie Smokes.
Shout out to Katie Smokes, man. We actually know Katie.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think more importantly, I think Katie follows me on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does. She's a huge supporter. Shout out to Katie.
This is one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. In general.
That's huge.
That's why I think it's so dope. Like I was talking about, you guys got the award. So when he was like, "Oh, will you be a guest host on there?" I was like, absolutely. But the chemistry you and Ed got is absolutely fucking amazing. This is one of the greatest comedy podcasts and podcasts in general. Because there's some garbage podcasts out there.
I appreciate that, man. I actually don't listen to enough podcasts to know if we're good or not. I've listened to a lot, and trust me, this is a great podcast. I've even been on some shitty podcasts where, I ain't gonna say no names. But it's all staticky. You're in between talking, and you get cut off by a weird ass commercial. Yeah. Oh yeah, my career, and today we are going to talk about the Army. You want to join today? That's we owe a lot of the Epicast Network.
BET commercials.
Man. Yeah, I mean we owe a lot of the Epicast Network. If you're looking to get your podcast to sound better, maybe you want to start your own podcast. You need help promoting an event. You want to advertise your product on an award-winning podcast such as this one. Holla at Epicast, man. Go to epicastnetwork.com/services. Fill out the form and tell them the Drinking Partner sent you. Get the little hookup and whatnot. Also, Hooch app, man. We've been talking about this Hooch app. Explain it to you. You download this app. You can download it from iTunes or Google Play. And you use the promo code DRINKPOD. And you can get it for $1. All right? And that $1 will get you 30 free drinks for $1. One drink a day for 30 days. If you're in Pittsburgh, you go to an establishment called Grapperia. Grapperia. Man, I keep fucking. Is somebody gonna remember this shit for me? Grapperia. It's definitely
Grop. It's Grop.
It's Grapperia.
It's not Grapperia. It can't be Grapperia.
Yeah, because when you play,
Solomon worked there.
Oh yeah, Grapperia.
Yeah, Grapperia.
All right, it's Grapperia.
Because when you called the dude,
I gotta erase this
Grapperia.
fucking E on this bitch. It's A. Grapperia. All right, Grapperia in Pittsburgh. So. Download this drink and go to Grapperia every day for a month and get shit-faced. If you're in other cities, it's available all over your cities. New York City, San Fran, Hong Kong, Los Angeles, Miami, Dallas, Austin, New Jersey, Phoenix, and San Diego. If you're in any of those cities, download the app, and you've got a bevy of places that will accept the app. You can go, again, free drink every day for $1 using the promo code DRINKPOD. So that's that. Events, shit. So we've got a lot. March 24th and 25th, we will be at Farm to Table. They hold a annual conference. And this year it's focused on growing roots for healthy communities. The conference provides consumers with 2 days of networking and educational opportunities, seasonal cooking demonstrations, gardening, and information about the nutritional value of local food, presented by local experts. If you're into, eating local, you're looking to, eat well, come to the conference. They'll teach you how to do that sustainably. You don't have to be rich to eat healthy and to help the environment while doing so. And that's March 24th and 25th. The second day, they're going to have a Farm the Flask. That's a beer pairing event, or liquor pairing event. We will be there as well, getting completely shit-faced and hammered. So if you're if you're into that, come hang out with us March 25th. You can get tickets for that at farmtotablepa.com. Let me just double check. farmtotablepa.com for tickets. And if you use the promo code DRINKS, you get 20% off all your tickets. So shout out to Farm the Table. Make sure you use the promo code DRINKS, 20% off all the tickets, and we will see you there. March 25th, we also have another event, the Brouhaha, that will be in Moon Township, Hollow Oaks Brouhaha. It's the second annual Brouhaha for the Hollow Oaks Land Trust. They're raising money for the their parks projects. Once again, you can enjoy locally brewed craft beers paired with locally grown food samplings. This year we have some new experiences, auctions, and raffles you can bid on while sampling local brews with your souvenir taster glass, and the prize wheel is back. So we will be down there half hour. We're down there doing a podcast. Myself and Ed will be back on deck, live podcast with them. We will also be, hosting some of the other, other events that they got going on there. So that's the Hollow Oaks Brouhaha, and you can check them out on Facebook. Check out the event Brouhaha. Tickets to that are $65, and we will be there. And then, last but not least, we have April 1st. We will be at Compton Theater, part of the Burning Bridges Festival. We've got comics coming into town, and featuring Steel City Beer. They will be getting you completely shit-faced. As always, it's BYOB. And there'll be some music. DJ Dom Shuck will be in the building. And if you're looking for tickets, that's at ComtraTheater.ticketleap.com. You already know how we get down there, so get down. That's April 1st. That's April Fool's Day. It's not the last Friday. If you come down there at March 25th, we won't be there. I just told you, we already double booked somewhere else. So we will not be there the last Friday. But if you come April 1st, April Fool's Day, we will be there. Whew, yeesh. What you got going on, Terry?
Over here right now? When I was just on my phone?
No. You got any events coming up?
Well, there's events and dates that kind of conflict with those, so I didn't want to
No, that's all good.
Yeah. And then I also got to check, because I'm the weird dude that gets the email to confirm a show the week of, and then I go, oh yeah, I got, I got this weekend and stuff. So, the dope thing is, I'll be at Joker's Laugh House. I think that's the 24th and 25th coming up in May, and then at least I want to highlight the other ones are out in Get Out Land. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Where ain't nobody about to fucking drive out to. If you live in that area, you already know the show's happening, because there ain't shit else to do in your town. But no, and then when we go down May 11th to Rocky Gap Casino Resort, that'll be a fun show. So
I'm looking forward to that, getting the fuck out of Pittsburgh and doing a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, it should be fun. So that's a good start out for a bunch of other things that I got coming up out of town. That'll be pretty dope after the album. So I want to do a lot of stuff to hit out there and promote the album more, especially because it's mainly digital. You know what I mean? So
get your face out there. That's what's up. So speaking of the Burning Bridges Festival, that brings us to our guest for the day. This man, you've heard him before on episode something. Hey, Ed.
10. I was on episode 10.
Oh, you were episode 10?
I love it. He's prepared.
You episode 10. I co-hosted episode 69. No big
69?
deal.
69? All right. Well, you and me, that's Ed's job. I've been struggling with that shit. So, yeah, you heard him on episode 10 and episode 69. And he's back again. He is running this Burning Bridges Comedy Festival. He's part of Race to the Coffin comedy troupe, and he's also a very unlikable person, but somehow we still fuck with him because he's good at what he does. So we're bringing to the to the Drinking Partners podcast for a third time, John Dick Winters. Say what up to the people.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, I have some upcoming events on March 6th. I'm paying my phone bill.
This is why you don't
$92 is coming out of my bank account tomorrow on March 6th. On March 11th, I will be working a shift for Drift Wood Oven Pizza because I do not have a job. And I also have a bunch of shows coming up, but you're not going to come to them, so let's just keep them a secret. Hi, everybody.
John Dick Winters, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yo, you got one of the coolest fucking comedy names. First of all, like
Yeah, people don't think I made it up. It's just my name.
Yeah, because when you think of because of Jonathan Winters and stuff, so it's just a cool ass comedy name like John Dick Winters. You know what I mean? So do you get a lot of runoff from like when people look up Jonathan Winters? That like
No, I get runoff from Dick Winters, who was you ever see Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
That's the guy. He was a famous World War II hero.
Yeah.
So that's the guy that comes up when people talk to me about Dick Winters.
See, that's fucking crazy because like for me, it's Monty Python, Terry Jones. So like right now on Spotify and all the digital stuff, the album's being listened to heavy in Europe because of them thinking that it's fucking him, and then they hear my black ass come on there like, oh, he's a limbo Negro now.
And
Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Bailey.
yeah, I get tagged a lot in posts that have nothing to do with me because they'll be like, "Oh, happy birthday,"
Yeah, have a good one.
and then they'll just tag day, like you know what I mean. So I just randomly in the comments and shit, like, but I don't even know this motherfucker, but like I'm tagged, and sometimes they'll put the Bracy in there too. I got tagged the other day. It was like happy birthday Bracy, and it was like you didn't see like me all up in this bitch, like
There's some 43-year-old single woman with 3 cats who doesn't know how to use Facebook, Dave. Like, what are you mad about?
Like, oh man.
So that's
John, man. First of all, I got to shout you out and say thank you for bringing a comedy festival here to Pittsburgh, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that you do here that I feel like gets overlooked. And like I said, I'm a fan of your comedy, and I like you as a person.
Would you repeat that today, please?
Listen, I posted that in
no lie podcast.
I posted that in one of the comedy groups, and then everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" They're like, "What is next? $7.99 Ray-Bans?" Like, I think Shannon Norman said that shit, but no, it's the thing is, I've been doing comedy for about 11 years now, 10, like going in that range. So when I started at 18, there was like just rooms. Like you could just do rooms. Like it was just, there was a couple rooms where you could probably do 2 a night, or if you got lucky and it was like one of those specific times in a month, you could do like 3.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, I have
on
some
a Wednesday or
events
whatever.
on,
line up
March
your shows
6th, I'm
to do
paying
like
my
multiple
phone
in a
bill.
night. So it's cool to see the scene like having these movements, but for you to take that and make a comedy festival and bring it here to Pittsburgh is huge, man, because not that many people would take that initiative to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people kind of like sleep on doing the work, the behind the scenes work, because a lot of stuff is monopolized. It's a lot of people that want to control shit. So
Yeah,
I think it's
it's
great what you're doing. Man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's a lot of work. It's super annoying, and but I mean, Burning Bridges was just I tour a lot and I meet a lot of people and I do festivals, and I just wanted a bunch of fun people to come to Pittsburgh, and I wanted them to tell me their jokes, and that turned into 14 shows in 2 days last year.
Yeah.
It was just supposed to be it wasn't supposed to be a real festival, but that went so well last year that I was like, I could probably do it better, and this year is looking like it's going to be incredible. Like last year, we kind of forced a lot of the shows into rooms that, we did it here in Allentown, which was a good idea, but, it just didn't draw. But so this year we're doing it in all legitimate comedy venues all over the city. And I think a lot more people are going to come out this year. We have multiple headliners. We have 3 different acts headlining, and I'm super stoked on that. It got real serious real fast.
Yeah. That's the way it should be. And I'm just glad that, because you have a really good business sense too when it comes to comedy.
You should see the way I live.
Well, I mean, but like seriously, I think it's pretty dope how you like grind, man. Because I've seen some lazy motherfuckers over the years. Like, I'm talking
I think I have
lazy.
the opposite ethic of some people who run shows. Like I put a lot of work into them, but I don't expect to get a lot of monetary return from them. A lot of other guys put no work into them and want the money.
Yeah,
and it's completely backwards in that logic. Like I've made a little bit of money doing these shows, but like I've also lost money or I break even or whatever.
For
but
sure.
It's all about putting on a quality show.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever put on a show that wasn't quality, I'm very, very mad at myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not money is the secondary concern always.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, it should be quality because, like you said, I mean, there's times like I've taken losses on shows or whatever, but if the quality is there, people will come back and eventually, I mean, like it'll be worthwhile. But if you put on a shit show,
and we've all experienced this. Some people will do these shows where they'll put people on the shows that have no business being there, but they'll bring a bunch of people.
Oh yeah,
and it's a simple. It's the law of diminishing returns. So you'll sell out one show, but those people are never fucking coming back because they saw a terrible show.
Oh yeah, and then
absolutely.
you've burnt them to Pittsburgh comedy in
Exactly,
general because
and
they
it
already
affects my
expected
shows.
to be
When
shit.
you do that affects my shows.
Oh, yeah.
Like Pittsburgh comedy sucks because they saw a shitty show with someone who decided to do comedy last week and bring out 20 of his friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, or even worse, you get the guy who's headlining and he'll bring in like 4 shitty ass newcomers that they're shitty by nature. They're brand new to comedy. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So like you have them people like sucking so that they can look great for
I didn't even
who
know
they
that was a
bring
thing
in.
that people did. That's crazy as fuck.
What?
Oh
Bruh.
yeah,
Oh.
have a soft lineup so you look
like a
amazing.
genius,
Yeah.
or they short your time.
That's an older technique. A lot of old heads will do that. That's not something a lot of younger guys do.
Yeah, like the OGs will be like, "Yo, you only gonna do 5 minutes, and I'm gonna do an hour."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, okay, so I just came down here for 5, but you're getting paid the same as someone doing 30, 20 minutes, so you ain't gonna complain, but at the same time, you get it. Like,
you're being manipulated one way or the other in that scenario.
Or like my favorite is like there's certain headliners you'll work with that'll go, don't talk about this next show because I talk about that. And they try to just manipulate. And
I mean it's crazy because I don't know shit about comedy, but
shut up, dude.
That's very true.
When I'm I honestly don't. But when when I'm on stage, I perform better when good comics are on stage. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of that that competitive edge or whatever. Like shitty shows, and that's the thing that I found is that I'll see a comic bomb, and they're a good comic or whatever, but they're just having a tough set. Or sometimes I'll just see a shitty comic or whatever, and I'll think to myself I'm gonna get up here and fucking murder this shit. But then I get up and it's fucking terrible. And I also bombed because maybe I was overconfident or just the crowd wasn't into it at that point, or they just kind of
you haven't written a joke since 2011, or the other.
You know what? Probably the last time I wrote a joke was the last time I beat you in a comedy competition. I don't know, maybe.
When you begged the white crowd.
I don't know. One of the
this is their reparations if they voted for you.
One of the multiple
which is very funny.
One of the multiple comedy competitions that I beat you in. I don't know. One of those. I don't know. The last time I wrote a joke, but.
In Altoona.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, that's just weird to hear folks that they pad the show before.
Oh, bro, I had I remember when I first started, one of the first people I opened for, I ain't gonna say no names because I'm actually friends with them, but they're like a bigger headliner. And his feature, who I'm also friends with at the time, was like, "Hey, don't do this specific joke." Because he has one that's like that and it kind of steps on it. It's just like the nature. Now, keep in mind, I was still new. I was in my early 20s. I think I just turned 21. And it was interesting to me to hear that because I'm like, I have 10 minutes. I'm emceeing this show for you. I have 10 minutes. You have 20 to 25 and this dude has to do 45 to an hour. If he can't adjust some shit and he's the headliner, then he don't need to be fucking headlining. And that's the same thing that Dave Chappelle has told the other people. Like, I know people that open for him, and they're like, yo, should I not say something? And Chappelle's like, no. He's like, if a headliner's telling you that, then they're not a fucking headliner. Your job is to adjust your shit. Like, you don't ask someone who only has 7 minutes of material to change their shit the day of the show. Like, what the fuck? Like really think about that for a second. Like, yo, I'm going to ask you to change your shit.
Yeah.
And you only have 5 to 7 minutes of material. Meanwhile, I should have 45 to fucking whatever time. So yeah, there's always somebody trying to do something, you know what I mean, and find a way. So that's why I always like, seeing what a lot of people here do, like John and even with Alex in his new room, Alex Stapula.
I did that show last night. It was amazing.
Yeah, and that room is like fucking great when we did the other thing there.
The
so
ACLU benefit.
Yeah, so it's dope, man. Just I like seeing different comics excel in that next level. So that's why I always appreciate what you guys
You've always
do.
been like that. You've always you're not really super entrenched in the Pittsburgh scene, but every time you're around, you're always positive.
Oh yeah, I mean I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's circumstances why I can't always be out every 5 seconds, but I've always loved the scene and the comics here because I'm a fan of comedy. I think everyone has a specific place or specific style. You know what I'm saying? So it's always cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you have like you said, you have been positive in that regard. I was talking to Baron Batch and how you have this competition just in general, throughout all the different scenes. I mean, everybody has a pocket scene or whatever, and people, they feel competitive or whatever, and they get into this cat and mouse, this catty political bullshit. But if you look at somebody as if they're valuable, that's not a threat to me. That's something that I can add to and build something upon, as opposed to tearing somebody down. Then
for sure.
I think it works, and I think that's a message that really, I mean, no matter what scene that you're in, should be carried. This. You're wearing a Michael Jackson shirt. Have you even...
I love
More
that.
specifically, I'm wearing a crew neck sweatshirt that I bought a medium Michael Jackson shirt at a thrift shop, cut it up, and then sewed it on this sweatshirt.
Okay, I got you. That's what happened.
I'm thrifty and frugal.
There's no way in hell you were fitting into a medium. I'm like, the fuck you do with a medium?
He's badass.
Put it on
just opening bottles of beer.
I'm an MJ. I'm an MJ fan. What do you want from
You're an MJ fan?
Yeah.
Nobody looks at you and thinks...
John's one of the most interesting people I've met. Because there's a lot of stuff
Why
that
don't you listen right now? Terry's about to preach about how great I am.
if you look
bullshit.
That's bullshit. When you look at
That's
John,
because he's not around
Jay,
enough.
motherfucker, you know you love me.
not
You know you love me.
Around enough. He doesn't know this dude. He's...
when you look at
The difference
John,
between you and Terry is I respect Terry on a comedic level.
You see what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Dick.
John is funny as hell. When you look at John, you would not expect to know the shit about John that John has.
He's a bitch. Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
I look like I'm a bitch. Some stuff you can just look at me and tell. Other stuff is a little more
fuck?
subtle,
The
a little
fuck
more
did y'all
nuanced.
sign me up for?
So how have you expanded upon the festival this year? I mean, like you said, it's in different locations and whatnot. But what are some of the things that you did learn last year, moving into this year?
Well, like I said, we put it. I tried to put it in one neighborhood last year and trying to force
With no parking.
Yeah. And I thought that'd be better, and it just simply wasn't. So now it's at Arcade, it's at Hambones, it's at Mr. Small's, Club Cafe, Unplanned Comedy Warehouse, Contra Theater. It's at theaters that have comedy all the time, so people know to go there for comedy. So there's that. We have we have two pretty big headliners in James Adomian, who's been on Comedy Central and Comedy Bang Bang. He's been all over the place. So he's headlining Mr. Smalls. That's a big show. That's a huge step up from last year. And then we also have Aparna Nancherla, who's also blowing up right now. She's had her Comedy Central half hour. She's on podcasts all over the place. She's on the next season of Love on Netflix. She's headlining Club Cafe, and so are the Reformed Hordes, which is this hilarious satirical country western duo out of New York. But it's so goofy and raunchy and intelligent, and it's feminist, and it's pretty amazing. And that I'm really happy to have them. I've known those girls for years.
Sweet.
So last year, like I said, it was I just wanted my friends to come and tell me jokes. And the headliner was Jeff Tate. Jeff Tate was the very first headliner I ever opened for. That time I beat you in a comedy competition in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a comedy competition in Morgantown?
There was this one night.
Yeah.
I'm like, the last time I performed in Morgantown was at the fucking
So there
Lazy Lizard.
was a Wednesday open mic. They turned into a competition,
Yeah.
and the winner got to open for Jeff Tate and John Evans the next day. And Chris Mohan, Dave Bracey, and I drove down. I crushed. They did not.
No, I actually had a decent set, which was...
No, he did have a decent set. He just didn't crush like the winner did me.
Nah. I don't think anybody of color got into the top three. Let's just,
Yeah, that's what it was.
So it was Jeff Tate and John Evans co-headline?
It was Evans, and Evans featured for Tate.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
it was that was actually the 1 year anniversary of stand up for me. That has nothing to do with anything. But anyway, I had Jeff Tate come headline Burning Bridges because he had a special meaning to me, and that was really cool. And so last year was just a bunch of friends kind of thing, and this year I've turned into a really legitimate kind of deal. That Opus One, my production company, is more heavily involved. I have Arcade doing 3 shows. Arcade is, to me, the most legitimate comedy theater in Pittsburgh. Then we have involved the new Unplanned Comedy Warehouse, and then Ham Bones is the main spot. That's where all the partying is going to happen. It's the Ham Bones. Shout out to Jeff and Ham Bones. He's feeding all the out-of-town comedians for free.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, dude, he's the best. And then, obviously, I'm also doing a show at Club Cafe, which is where I do my comedy roulette every month.
Yeah.
So what I've done is just like involved all the legitimate comedy theaters and involved all the legitimate comedy shows. That's why Drinking Partners is doing their Epic Comedy Hour in Comtra, and we have Blue Light Special at Arcade, and so all these shows are just coming in and falling on one weekend, and they're all being done under the Burning Bridges logo.
I love that.
So everyone's just kind of working together. If everyone just promotes their shows the way that they normally promote their shows, I think everyone's going to have a good show.
Oh yeah, I think
the thought behind it.
It's going to be packed, man, because you don't have events like this come to Pittsburgh. I mean, I know there was a Pittsburgh Comedy Festival and everything, but outside of what you're doing in that festival, there was nothing like that. Before.
It
was just like,
well, it's unique when DV has their comedy festival. That's the one day thing, but that's a big event they do at a theater. So
for sure,
and they do a local show or two, which is cool. But like that's its own monster.
Yeah.
And then the Pittsburgh Comedy Festival is a whole different thing. They do it in Oakland. They do it at one theater. It's half improv. So that's different. And then the reason I started doing Burning Bridges, I was going to do it earlier than the Pittsburgh Comedy Festival was announced. So it's like, I'm not going to do a festival if they're doing a festival. And then I realized what their festival was. I'm like, oh, they're doing it this unique way. Yeah. I can still do it completely differently, the way that the way that I am doing it, and it's a completely different event.
I agree.
It's 4 months apart. And shout out to Pittsburgh Comedy Festival. When I did Burning Bridges last year, they got in touch with me and did marketing for me. They were very, very good, nice to me.
Yeah,
which I really appreciated.
And that's great, man.
And then they hired Dave Bracy to be the stand-up director, and then they stabbed me in the back, essentially.
Yo, what the fuck did you sign me up for?
The guy that doesn't know anything about comedy. I still don't know how.
No, you know what? I did Pittsburgh Comedy Festival the last 2 years because the last 2 years ago I won a comedy competition at the Arcade Comedy Theater to be a part of it, and then you booked me on it last year, and I had a great time. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I did their. They had when they first did it. It's like me and Wysocki did like their party to earn money.
Oh yeah,
before
the
they did
fundraiser
it.
Or whatever. Yeah.
And then the second year, I did it.
Yeah,
with a couple guys, and it was fun, man. Mm-hmm. I thought I really like. I really like what a lot of you guys are doing with the comedy scene here because a lot of the powers, I quote this, powers that be get upset at it. You know what I mean? You got people that look down on it and they're like, oh, you young punks. And it's like, you can't get mad at them.
I'll name names.
Here's the thing.
Fuck you, David K. and other people.
Yeah, no, I feel you because I mean it is. There are folks that are in these positions and they
I'm not
just
getting you not booked now, Terry.
Yeah, they just want to bottleneck the scene or whatever, and they just want to pick and choose folks. And I feel like they are in that category of folks that they see the younger crowd as competition. They want to control that and
I think there's a lot of older guys that not talking about specifically certain people that just do booking. I think there's a lot of older guys that are just bitter because nobody looks up to them in a way. So for example, with
the exception of very few people, who is there to look up to?
That's what I'm saying. For example, one of my top comedy mentors was Billy Elmer. But if you know the history of Billy Elmer, dude's a fucking beast. He was a monster.
I've heard legend of Billy Elmer. I've never met him.
Oh, you have to. He's fucking crazy.
I heard he was great.
You got to meet him. And he's one of the best stand-up comics I've ever met. In general, he was working Vegas. He was working Zanies in Chicago and doing all kinds of stuff. But the thing is, I think there's a lot of guys who just look at it and they're like, well, who are these young punks that aren't calling me to book me? And it's like, you're not going to go to fucking Burning Bridges and do a O.J. Simpson joke in 2017. Like it's not going to
keep
kill.
evolving, man.
And there's a lot of people that they don't evolve.
Yeah.
They just stop. And in comedy, like I said before, Seinfeld said you're the same age on stage than you have been doing comedy. And people perform that way. So you have a lot of guys who have been doing it and they're like, oh, I've been doing comedy 30 years. And it's like, that's cool. But your material is still 30 years old too.
Yeah.
Like you got to do something different. Like no young generation's going to understand, a fucking payphone joke or they're not going to understand a fucking joke about a rotary phone. Like you have to step your game up.
Are all your references phone related?
There's so many fucking phone related jokes.
They won't get a regular phone joke, a pay phone joke, a rotary phone joke, a wireless phone joke.
Car phones.
You always got that one dude that's like, have you seen how big cell phones were in the 80s? Yeah. Like you got that guy.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I kind of when I look at what we're doing or whatever, and there's a small handful of like comics that are both comedian and businessman producer. On that. And John is one of those who's like, he's an actual comedian, but he's also putting together shows and whatnot in the scene. And I think that because improv is a bottlenecked ass fucking establishment, and I get the economics of it or whatever the fuck. To an extent, I don't know. You go to other cities, you actually have a few comedy clubs where, they're actually bringing in a lot of the young talent and, giving them a bit more opportunities than you found in Pittsburgh. So it has forced us to go out and make these shows. You have to kind of, I'm not going to get called. And I could either sit by a phone and wait or, get on stage and do the whole thing and try to grind and hopefully they'll notice me. Or I can go out and just put on a show myself and put on some great fucking comics and then showcase a city. Yeah. In that regard. I think the comedy fest that we have are, in part because of that, that necessity of, having a space for us. I would like to see more of Pittsburgh come out to support comedy in general.
You know what? And that is slowly changing because we every time I do a show at Club Cafe or Arcade Comedy Theater or wherever I'm doing shows, comics are always welcome for free. Now Stapila is doing the same thing. He has the same policy. Shannon has the same policy with Blue Light. And if anyone wants to come, I don't know. And also, to any comedians who might be listening to this, I don't know how many times I've gotten thrown on a show because I go to the show. Yeah. All the time. I've been on so many shows just because I like to go to a show and hang out and talk shit in the green room or whatever. And they're like, "You want to do a set?" It happens all the time. Yeah. And it's just like if you're around a lot, that'll happen.
They pity you, John. I don't think you understand that. They're like, "Oh, look at him with nothing to do."
Is that what that is?
No.
I like how we're having this positive conversation. And Day had to throw in his terrible roast joke.
I know I had a show where John showed up and I was like, John, just do time.
You're just show you ain't got shit else to do but just hang out with us.
There's some people that won't. That's why it's cool.
It is dope. If anybody showed up to one of my shows, my shows are usually in fucking East Blip or whatever. But if somebody showed up to the show, I put them on. Like a guest set, that's awesome. It makes the show better, especially if it's a good comedian.
Yeah, if it's a good guest set.
I've
seen some terrible guest sets.
Oh god, yeah.
With big name headliners where they were like, why the fuck did they let that person on?
You know what? I have I won't name a name. I did a guest set with Steve Byrne a year and a half ago, and it went really well. And Bill Crawford was featuring, and Bill introduced me to Steve after the show. And Steve said, "Thank you for doing the set. You were very funny." And then he complimented me more for not annoying the shit out of him like the guest set who was there the night before did.
I know who you're talking about.
I know you know who I'm talking about. This motherfucker.
We're gonna have to talk about this shit after.
Oh man, he was in the green room for the hour before Steve went on stage, just bombarding him with bullshit.
Wow. And Steve's such a nice guy.
He was very.
He gives
for the
guest sets all over.
For the 38 seconds that I met him, he was very nice to me, and he complimented me for just fucking knowing my role and just saying hello and thank you, and that's it.
Yeah. Yo, and the fact that you got off on time was probably another.
And the laughter while I was on stage also probably helped.
Yo, this is why I fucking love comedy.
And I did a guest set. I took Shannon. I drove him to a set over at 360 when that was a thing.
Okay.
And I was just chilling in the back, like, and the headliner came up. He was like, like right before his set, he was like, you want to do 5 minutes on stage? And I was like, what? Like, I guess so. Like, all right, yeah, sure. Like, I'm not gonna like say no. So it was just kind of last minute. So I hop on or whatever, and I do my 5, and like it was like I did the mistake of like doing like my 5 last minutes as opposed to my first 5.
Was that your first guest at like a show like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like
it's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, I was like, let me just get it.
I did it with Ralphie May.
Yeah,
I did my closing bit, which is a pretty intense bit.
Exactly.
Now Ralphie May's audience could not give a fuck.
Yeah, that's
I bombed real bad.
Yeah, I did this. I got up. I was like, I'm gonna just hit him with my killer, and I did it. And they were like, we don't fucking know you.
You gotta build that shit.
You gotta build. Like like if you're listening, always do your first 5. Like just do your first 5 and get the fuck off. Don't hit them with your strong shit because they don't know you enough. You know what I mean?
Nah, yeah.
No context. There's no context.
Yeah. I always had like this exercise that I would do where I would switch up closers and try and do every joke as a closer. Like except of course the intro. Like if you're doing like an opening joke that is like an opening, like you can't like close with that shit.
Yeah.
Or you can. It could be funny. But you know what I mean? Like just rotating it just in case you get that opportunity. Because people only remember you by your last time. So if you're doing 30 minutes, if you have a rough 15 up front or a rough 10, they're going to remember you by that ending 15 minutes. So you got to make it a strong, like, fucking killer 15. Because that's what they're going to remember.
Yeah.
Like, for us, we'll get off stage and be like, yo, I fucking tanked. But we killed at the end of our set. And
It's
like,
really funny. Amanda Aver runs a show at like this a game room in Brooklyn or whatever, and she streams it online and people can comment in. And this one guy was heckling me, didn't like my set. I did 30 minutes. He was heckling me the whole time, didn't like it. And then at my closing bit, he was like, "All right, that's pretty good."
Yeah, it's always like that, yo. That's hilarious.
He was like, "Oh, that's pretty good."
Oh man, yeah, man. They love to do that. John, what do you find your favorite thing about going on the road? Because a lot of people have to wait for bookers. They have to audition for bullshit.
Bookers
and
be
stuff.
willing to play a living room.
Well, and that's what I love about what you did with Race to the Coffin and what you're doing just in general is that you book these shows yourself out of the state. And like I said, instead of waiting for someone to call or go 3 hours to audition and wait 3 months just to get a call back, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about doing it that way, like being in control of your own shit? Because there's nothing like being in control
now
of your
that
own
I've
brand.
figured out how to do it and make money, it's really great.
Yeah.
I finally figured it out where I actually make a decent amount of money doing it. Not as much as you would make at a club, but like enough to sustain myself and pay my bills while I'm away on the road.
Yeah.
That's all I need. And it's amazing. I meet a ton of comics, and that's probably my favorite part, just hanging out with comics. I love comedy.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with comedians here across the country. And I love the camaraderie. Like, if you meet a comedian, there's always an immediate connection, but then there's even a deeper connection. If you see each other and you both do well, that person's your friend for the rest of forever.
Yeah.
Maybe not on a deep level, but like there's a mutual respect there, and I like that. Like when I first started doing comedy, I just wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be recognized as the other comedians as a comedian, and I've gotten that in Pittsburgh a lot, and that's great. Now I just want that everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to be one of those guys, like a Jeff Tate or whatever, that the comedians in that town are excited that he's coming.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I'm ever famous or whatever, but like if I can go to like Indianapolis, if I can go to Austin, Texas, and the comedians are like, "Oh man, John Dick Winters is in town tonight," and that's my next goal.
So your goal is to be the comics comic, pretty much. Like I think that's a bad term. Like I think it's been slandered now, but it's not.
I've always thought that comics comic refers to a comedian's style more than their fame or lack thereof.
No, I think there's been slander over it over the years.
No,
like,
I'm right.
You know what I'm saying? No, like because for example, like there's guys like Doug Stanhope, who I think is a brilliant comic. Like Bill Hicks is one of my favorite comedians of all time. but like people will look at Bill Hicks as like more of a comics comedian than the fan base, because like when people think of fan bases, where everyone's thinking of like you're selling out arenas like Steve Martin did, or like Eddie Murphy and Kevin Hart. Like that's what like a lot of. So it's a lot different because for us, like me, I enjoy comics, and I was laughing about this because I was telling somebody there's nothing. I get more anxiety about making a comic laugh than I do an audience. So like nobody wants to be known as a hack. No one wants to be known as the unfunny comic to another comic. Like you're freaking out. Like you can make like 400 people laugh, but there's that one dude that's a comic in the back going like this.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, fuck him, man.
Yeah.
Like
that's John Dick. That's John Dick in the back.
That's just because I don't laugh at your jokes. I laugh at Terry's jokes.
But like you feel what I'm saying. So
I don't laugh at your jokes. I've seen all the Chris Rock specials. Yeah, man. I like going on the road.
Yo, what the fuck? Yo, this shit's hilarious. This is one of the funniest podcasts I've ever fucking been on, yo. Like, how y'all did this for 110 episodes just fucking baffles me.
Going on the tour independently is a lot of fun, and I've made a goal, and I'm going to say it publicly. I made a goal that this will be the last year that I'm not doing it full time.
Okay.
I have big plans for the second half of this year, and then come 2018, I want to be doing it like as a job.
Yeah.
Just touring.
And you will.
If I want to have a goal of touring from 4 to 6 months this year, and then 8+ months next year.
Okay.
And that's what I want to do.
Sweet. I mean, yeah, even if it's a small venue in another state and you're getting paid for it, that's what Bill Hicks and them dudes used to do.
I do a lot of shows for donation based. They're free shows, and then there's a donation. There's something about doing. There's something if you have a guarantee, that's great. It takes a lot of pressure off of you.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any guarantee and you do a good show and people want to give you their money, that feels pretty fucking incredible.
Oh, hell yeah.
When people come up and throw you a $20 bill for a show that was free, that's better to me than someone paying $10 sight unseen.
Absolutely.
To the ego and to my self-esteem. Like, it just feels better to me.
Yeah, that's dope.
It would be nice if we get to the point where someone would just pay $10 to see me.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not. Who knows if that'll ever happen? I'm happy to doing it the way that I'm doing. It's humbling and it's exciting. It's all those things. The ups and downs of comedy are intense, but the ups and downs are even more intensified on the road. Mm-hmm. The highest highs and the lowest lows happen on the road, but it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, and that's dope, man. Because I never had the balls to do what you were doing as far as setting like, yo, I'm putting my own shit together. Like for me, I've always had to wait for the bookers or do that shit. So it's dope to see how you're doing it, especially now. This is a different age with like the way the internet's set up, the connections you could build with other comics and build with different venues. You may have met somebody while you were at a comedy festival who runs a bar in Cleveland or who runs a theater in Cleveland, or this comic who can get you in connection with somebody so that you can bring your tour there.
Who has a rotary phone. And yeah, it's gotten to the point now that I've met so many comedians and I have so many connections that I booked a 30-day tour last year in like 10 days.
And
it was not hard at all.
That's fucking
People
great.
know me or know of me enough that they'll give me a show and they're happy about it. They're like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And that's a big reason why I do what I do here in Pittsburgh, for those connections. I do it because I want to put on a good comedy show for here in Pittsburgh, but it's also selfish. When people come through town, I want to be the person giving them those shows. I want to be owed the favor.
Yeah.
And the barter system in comedy to me is huge, and it's the reason I'm able to do what I do.
Good
Day,
shit.
what's going on, man?
I know. I was
He's giving himself a pedicure.
I know. I was sitting here. I was like, "Day, man, like
my nails, man. I just got a
I'm
thing.
sorry, manicure. The pedicure is your foot, I guess.
my man been so like, what's going on with your nails, dog?
They were just dirty, man. I just can't walk around with dirty.
That was
nails.
rude of us, Terry, to talk about comedy in front of Day. He couldn't get in on the conversation.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
weird. Like I felt like I was talking too damn much. Like I'm like,
no. I mean, that's
Dave's a good host. He knows when to let us talk.
that's what we do. We like I gotta let you guys talk. It's like you're here. That's what you guys are here for.
He's like, I see John Dick every day.
I mean, because I don't get out of the city at all. I mean, I'm just here, and I don't live a life that really is conducive to getting out of the city. Like, it's nice that we're doing that thing in Virginia or whatever, and it was booked months in advance. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool. I can make some room for that or whatever. But for the most part, I just don't even live a life that is conducive.
That's an interesting thing you just put up, because comedians will ask me either on tour, even here in Pittsburgh, how do I do that? I'm like, I've been over fucking backwards to have this life. Yeah. I walk dogs. I walk dogs there. Like, I used to be a chef and I had this life, and I got rid of, as soon as I started taking comedy seriously, which was almost immediately, I got rid of those jobs and I started living a life that was conducive to comedy. And now it's at the point where if I have a job that I don't need to even do.
Yeah,
like I do it here and it pays the bills, and it's not, but it's so minimal and minuscule, it's not important at all, that I can leave for a month on a 5 days notice, and that's and people like wonder what it takes. It takes an enormous amount of sacrifice in your personal life and professional life. Like, I don't have a job, and Day has a career, and a lot of people have careers or whatever, and they're working on that. If and when this comedy thing doesn't work, which it probably won't, I won't have it.
It will.
I'm saying, like, I'm putting it all on the table there. I'm just like, that's the difference between me and some other people. Some people don't want to do that, and that's totally fine. But people ask me how I get to do this, and that's how it is. It's a huge amount of sacrifice in my personal life.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely have to sacrifice. Like, there's no easy way of doing something like that. We talk about a lot on the podcast about like that leap. Whenever you're in a comfy position, and then you have to make that some sort of sacrifice in order to put the time in to what you're doing. Any entrepreneurial endeavor, whether it's a brewery or a gallery or you have to put it a commitment, and it's scary as fuck. I mean, when you're to let go of comfort, because that's what you do. That's what's a sacrifice. You have to let go of comfort. A lot of people don't want to do that. I mean,
you're right.
It's a huge problem in America. That's how they get you to be obedient workers your entire fucking life.
Be a fucking sex slave. Like, there was a couple comics that I had worked with that were bigger, and they were talking about how like they kept their day jobs until they got to a specific point where they were like, "Yo, I don't have to take that shit gig anymore." Yeah. Like, there was like specific gigs that they were like, "I refuse to take." And they kept it, but they also were guys that were living in specific cities like New York or LA, where you can like kind of like get away with that. But I think it's dope that in Pittsburgh that you're doing that. You feel what I mean? Like, you're treating it like a comic in any other major city would.
Well, because of the internet, you're able to do that from smaller markets. I don't know if you know. Do you know Ramon Rivos from Cleveland? He just had his half hour.
That's the one that just me and Mike Head. I don't know if you know Mike Head.
I know the name.
Yeah, Mike Head's out Cleveland. Yeah, we were talking about him.
Well, Ramon, he's a beacon for me. Not the Mexican smoking weed part, but the other the part. He runs a comedy collective, Accidental Comedy. Runs a festival, Accidental Comedy Festival. I've done it a couple of times, and I'm just kind of emulating what they're doing in Cleveland. And Cleveland has an amazing independent comedy scene, and Ramon himself is a hustler, and it's because he lives in Cleveland is the reason he was able to go to New York for a month at a time, LA for a month at a time, without committing to move there and having to pay the rent and shit, because he lives in Cleveland for cheap or free, and then he can go to New York for 6 weeks. Yep. And that's precisely what I'm doing. And he, and him and other people, but I know him personally, like, he's a huge influence on me, not his comedy, but his work ethic. Yeah. And it's really amazing. I respect him a lot, and hopefully we'll be doing some type of a similar trajectory. We'll see. Yeah, I think
you know what, man, you've already put it out into the universe, and that's the thing I always believe
don't
in,
give
man.
Me your fucking secret bullshit.
like real shit, man. Like,
oh my god,
seriously, like, you've already manifested it, so it's going to happen.
Believe it,
so.
You will achieve it.
Hey, man, like, that's
unless
part
you're
of
an
it.
African.
Like,
all right, bro.
That's legit shit, man. That's what it is.
I mean, Pittsburgh is a great place to to do something like because of the cost of living. Like anytime I'm like, man, fuck Pittsburgh. Like, and then I talk to I go visit my friends, and I'm like, how much are you paying for rent for this bitch?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the cost of living here is so ridiculous.
Well, my boy Anthony was just here from New York. He was bragging about how cheap his rent was. He just got it down to $500 a month, and I was like, "That's for New York. That's
New York,
amazing.
that's absolutely insane.
amazing.
But where
Yeah,
does he live in?
amazing.
That's crazy.
He lives in a basement in Bushwick.
Exactly.
But he got it down from $1,000. So like, I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, but like, I pay $200 a month. You know what I mean? You can't beat it, man.
Nah,
Where the
yeah.
fuck you living at?
Troy Hill.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, that's,
Shit, you don't know.
It doesn't even, like the fact that it even exists because that doesn't exist in New York. I don't believe there's a place in New York that you could pay $200 unless it's
there
like
is.
a bathroom.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. The Greyhound, the homeless dude is your landlord. Fucking, you want to take my fucking stall? $200 a month, I'll let you take my stall, motherfucker. So the fuck's going on?
Shit. So what are some of the your favorite scenes? I mean, you've been all around. What are some of your favorite scenes in the country?
Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
Those people need to laugh. They love it.
Yeah.
I've been to Flint a bunch of times. The DIY scene, the comedy DIY scene in Michigan in general is really great. I've had a really good time there every time I've ever gone. I was just in Indianapolis. That was a really good time. Knoxville's a good time. A lot of there's a good independent scene there. Atlanta, which is one of the bigger markets, but like if you ever get the chance to do comedy in Atlanta, stay there for a few days and do every show and meet all the comics because everyone's funnier than you are.
Did you get to do Uptown?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's a comedy club in Atlanta. And
I don't do comedy clubs, Terry.
Well, still, I thought you might have wanted to do that room because it's a legendary room. Like Chris Tucker and all them started there, and like the thing is that like you have to be funny or they boo you, and you like get off. So like they would jingle keys and shit.
Well, I have to
You,
go
like,
do a Bernie Mac. I ain't scared of you,
yeah,
motherfucker.
that's what you got. There's actually a video on the internet. It's called like worst comedian bombing, and he's in Uptown.
Is it a black room or I might be racist
Yeah, it's,
right now?
it's a black room.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but there are a lot of independent shows in Atlanta, and they're just all amazing. All the comedians in Atlanta are incredible. There's a few on Burning Bridges actually coming up from Atlanta.
Nice.
We should probably talk about the festival.
I was going to ask
Like
you,
the
who are the
actual
comics that are on
specifics.
the festival and like what's going on with?
Yeah. So what is what is going on with the festival?
March
Would you like to
31st
talk?
through April 2nd. The show start kickoff at. I should probably know this. Mr. Smalls, James Adomian, the first headliner of the festival. That's the first show. It's 8:00, March 31st, and then we have shows that night at we have two shows at Arcade. We have a show at Unplanned Comedy Warehouse. We have a show at Hambones that night. That's all happening kind of simultaneously. And then Saturday we have your show up in Cranberry, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the Concert Theater, which I'm excited. I won't be able to. I get to go there next month, right at the end of April.
Yeah, you'll be at the end of April.
I'm really stoked on that. And we have a show at Apartment on Shirley. The second headliner is headlining Club Cafe at 10:00. And I don't know if you're familiar with her. Obviously, you're not. She's a comedian. But she is so unbelievably funny. Do you know Apartment at all, Terry?
Yeah.
Apartment is so. I fell in love with her with one joke. And I was a fan for life. And the joke is, any pizza can be a personal pizza if you're crying when you eat it. That's an amazing joke.
Yeah.
But she's great. She has a great point of view. We have shows at Unplanned and Arcade that night, Hambones, Contra Theater, Club Cafe, and then Sunday we have one show, Club Cafe, The Reformed Horse. It's going to be fucking amazing. And I'm hosting, because I'm very selfish, I'm hosting all the headlining shows.
Are you serious or are you kidding?
No, I'm hosting every one of the headlining shows. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
He's
of
not
course
a
I
likable
am.
character. I said that at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I work for 6 months, put my own money on the line, and then I give everyone else the best spots. Dave's not doing any shows.
I'm actually not. Yeah,
Dave's
no.
hosting his show, and then he can fuck off.
No,
forever.
I think Ed is hosting that show, so I'm not actually really a part of it. I'm just.
I thought one of you was hosting. One of you was doing a set.
No, that's what our model was last year.
Okay.
But it's hard.
Then you realize that you haven't never written new material.
Well, I
and can't
mean,
keep doing that.
once you, I mean, hosting is easy, but like actually doing a set like every other month with like, and maybe you'll get to this point at some point, John. But like when you have people coming back to your spot again and again, like
Yeah, I just celebrated 2 years at Comedy Roulette because
have.
no one fucking came back again.
I don't know. But you host it. I mean, like I said, I mean, you can't do a set every month in front of the same audience. Like it doesn't matter how prolific of a comic you are, you're not doing 20 to 30 minutes. So we just tag team it now. So one will host and any other host the next month.
Well, that's still cool.
Well, come hop on another show then. Pretty easy.
Yeah, no, I still got to be there. It's like what do you have you ever produced a show and you just weren't there? That doesn't make any sense.
When you're not at that show,
yeah.
hop on another show. There are 13 shows. You can get on one of them.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that
know
was a
who's
thing.
booking them.
Oh, do you know a guy?
Fucking moron.
Like, dude, just
Fuck. I invited him to a show, and he's being all kind of. Well, have you ever produced a I'm inviting you to come to a show.
and I'm just sitting here like,
He can't take anything nice from me. He can't do it. He cannot do it.
oh, I love it.
It's laced. They're
It's
laced
laced.
cookies. They're laced cookies.
No, because we're partying at Hambones after both nights. So come after you're done with Contra, come back down to the city, and then there'll still be a show going on at Hambones, and hop up and do a set.
Or I can just come Friday night. That's
also true.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Sweet.
But yeah, no. Like I said,
You
I
too,
like.
Terry. You're one of those, and I hope you know this. That you're one of those guys I don't even ask because you guys do paid work all the time. You and Wysocki and Crawford, you guys are booked most weekends.
It's
And I'm not gonna be like, hey, come do my 8 minutes of my festival for free.
yo, like, but that's the thing. Like, it might be a day where like I do have opening because he just hit me up.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Come do a set.
Okay.
It's always open. Like if I'm doing something like this, you and Crawford and whoever else can always come down, and I will squeeze you on the show.
Okay,
it's
sweet.
not a problem.
Because Alex just invited me down. He told me the same thing, like stop down if you ever want to just do time and you're free. And sometimes it's cool, like if depending on how late the shows are, like
And we want to get to that point where we're like an actual comedy town where like if we're Alex is starting that weekly show.
Yeah.
And if someone's hanging around, he'd be like, well, hop up on there.
Yeah.
Like a real fucking club or whatever, like a real show.
Yeah.
That's what we're working towards. Alex is really like upped his game doing that stuff. He's
fucking brilliant.
Alex is the funniest person in Pittsburgh.
I love that dude. He's fucking brilliant, man.
No, I like him. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
he's the
so
best.
we've
But
had
it was
some-
funny when I started Race to the Coffin. The other guys didn't quite get what I was talking about, and like Alex and I live together now. And he said to me like 6 months ago, he's like, I get it now. When he started like trying to do his own stuff, he's like, no, I get what you were trying to go for.
Yeah.
And now we're working together and doing a lot of cool stuff. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm hoping it'll be successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice when you have a team of folks that you can actually, work with or whatever, because the shit gets cumbersome quickly.
Oh yeah, I mean it can't be.
And the pressure of just producing a show by yourself, just
Yeah.
the pressure of getting people there.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a platform like a podcast like you guys do. Like it's just the marketing that I do is just straight like internet marketing, and it's very who knows.
That's the beauty of what we do now is the fact that we don't have to pay an arm and a leg to go to a major media outlet and get it out there. Like even this podcast is relatively cheap compared to whatever to produce, and then with advertising, whatever. Like the bulk of my advertising is just like Facebook ads or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
saw.
Like, and and the rest of it is just like it's kind of spam. I mean, like, what is just really what it is.
It's not spam,
but it's like
people want to go to the shows, man.
Before.
It-
Yeah,
I mean, it's just let it. I mean, and
spamming is like it's when you're forcing some shit down
So when
someone's
someone's
throat.
trying to sell you a rotary phone in 2017, that's spam.
There you go. Thank you.
Everyone listen, that's my second callback.
like, I mean,
Third one coming.
I try to like, with my online presence, like, give something, and then in between, say the podcast or whatever. I mean, just drop and say, hey, by the way, you want to support this, you could do that or whatever. And that's something that, people weren't able to do, 10, 20 years ago.
No, man. It used to be you had to spend a lot of money on some fucking flyers, and you had to like go pass them out or staple posters like
I
a missing
stopped
person
posting
shit.
on the when I first started producing shows or whatever. I was going around town and
Me too.
putting them on
It's just
and
the
nobody
the
fucking
labor isn't worth it.
No, not
No,
at
it's
all.
not
Like
at all, no.
nobody was like, because I would ask everybody like, how did you hear about it? Not one person was like, I saw this random
It's just
sign on a
not worth
fucking
it.
pole. Like,
I wish
when's
it
the last
was.
time you were walking by and saw a pole whole fucking flyer and was like, that's something I'm going to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so I completely just cut that shit out, and it just went fully online. And the success that I've, you know what I mean, that we've been able to see as a result of that is ridiculous. I mean, you got to know your audience. You got to know, you know, like, yeah, you got to your analytics and the whole nine. But if you can build an audience and you can actually, you know, reach them and find them online, then you can do a show.
Yeah, because it's hard. Like, it's not like there's certain shows you'll get booked for, and those asses are already going to be in the seats. Like, if someone's like booking you,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, so I don't really have to do much work. I might say a couple things, and
That's
boom.
what that's what Arcade has going for it.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Arcade. And you know, but when you, like you stated, when you're like producing your own shit, like even when I got the improv for the album recording, like that shit was difficult as hell because they put a whole nother black dude on the flyer or on the poster, and it was
I don't know. I
shout out to Andre Jones up New York.
Terry, I know that you go deep with the improv. I don't know why you fuck with these people.
John Dick is
assholes.
shooting down every person that books.
Not every person, just the ones that aren't good at it.
But yeah, that was tough for me because it was like, you know, you got to try and get 400 fucking people in there, and then John Lovitz came in and was like, "Fuck yeah," you know, and that was a whole nother shebang onto it. So yeah, like that's why I say, man, producing your own shit in a good venue like Arcade, or you get a good theater like you guys have, and putting the shows together is the best option. Like, there's no other better way,
no, if you
get more money.
Yeah. I mean, if you can do it, then you know it's always better to
If you
like,
charge the prices that the drinking partners charge, I charge $5.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't charge $5.
Yeah.
like, we also pay our comics for most of our things.
I pay the comics just significantly less than No, you'll get a $20 probably.
I mean, like,
John Dick's giving out gas money and fuel perks. Like,
I mean,
that's I'll work.
but that's the thing though. Like, I mean, I do appreciate, like, because you know you're working it with a different market than we are. I mean, at the same
Well, I
time,
just come
too.
from a different background. So I come from the punk rock background, so charging more than $5 is insane to me. Although I think I might charge $10. Go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I won't go higher than $10 on my tickets.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, we just happen to have a market and an audience that
Well,
we're
you're
able
up in
to
Cranberry.
do
You
that.
can-
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean,
gouge those
like,
no,
if
yeah,
we're not
we're-
charging $20. We come to the city. I mean, it's just not a thing that we can do.
Yeah, we're not knocking that.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like I said, I do think it is important to pay artists, and even if, like I said, even if it is like gas money or whatever, like just showing up, that's hell of important. That's what, like, I think a lot of people. There's some producers out there. There's some folks that throw shows and they just exclusively is free work. And that's the only shows that they do is free work. And I think that is a detriment because people should pay artists. You know what I mean? Like, exposure is cool. You know, your one-offs here and there, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're doing something bigger or whatever. Like, yeah, cool. But, you know, if every show that you're putting on, nobody's getting paid for, that's an issue.
I mean, exposure is cool in the beginning.
Exactly, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
When
exposure.
you're bad and don't need it.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You just want stage time at that point. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you just want, you know what I mean, like a stage to work on or whatever. I'm like, that's cool.
bro, I was doing like, when I came up here, I was doing like hip hop shows, and then I'd do a show in a church, and then be in a comedy club, and then be in fucking Smiling Moose on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, you had to just hop on stages and do what you could, and like, if you did have $25 gigs lined up, you needed to
Shit.
like line up like
that-
5 of them bitches.
That first
so-
show I did with you was 25 motherfucking bucks. It was the best 25 I ever made in my motherfucking life. I was like, what? You
John,
don't pay me
John
to-
did that show, didn't you?
No,
you did
it
a
was,
guest set on that show.
No, it was. Did you do a guest set
At
on
the
that?
Pleasure Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a guest.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah,
asked
all
John
right.
yeah.
All right,
Because I was like, I like John.
Yeah.
See, I've liked John since the beginning.
That's such a weird
John
phrase.
had some he had some dope ass routines about the black community.
That was so funny. It's so funny that you bring that
And
up.
he made
'cause
fun of Tyler Perry.
That
Fuck
came
Tyler
up
Perry.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So Shannon Norton was making fun of me, and he started making fun of my jokes. He said, "How about some deep cuts? How about some reparation jokes?"
Yeah.
And I used to have this bit about reparations. I can't remember one line from it at all. But that was the bit that you saw, and it was the best that had ever gone. And you happened to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I just did it anymore after that.
I was like, yo, John Dickens funny as shit for this, but yeah, it was pretty dope.
But the whole production side of things, there's so much that goes behind the scenes, and I think a lot of people don't fully understand that. The thing is that if you put on a good show, people don't understand the work that you put into it. I mean, that's
their audience.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it should
Even
be.
some of the comedians aren't fully aware.
Because
the audience has no idea.
exactly. And the comedians, like, if it's really well run, then they just show up. They do their thing and then they leave. They don't. They don't really understand everything that goes on, behind it. And like you said, some people just don't want to put in the work. So then,
it's fine. Just don't try.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna put on a show and it's half-assed and it's affecting my bottom line, I want to murder you.
Yeah. That's. The beauty. That's what I love. I love being in the position that we're in or whatever, because like if somebody's doing some shit in comedy that I think that is a detriment to the scene, then I could just call them out, because at the end of the day,
then Matt unfriends you.
like at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Not book me? So when you have that control, you're able to speak out on more things.
I'll never do a show at the Improv on a Wednesday for 30 people again. I'm crushed.
The fuck is
for free. And it's and that's what I'm saying. Like, you could do shit for exposure, and that's important. I think it's important to have those lanes where, you have those shows you can get on exposure, or else I wouldn't be able to do anything that I'm doing now without those shows. But if you're exclusively doing just shows where you're not paying people, that's a fucking issue.
Yeah,
that's like a Vulture type thing.
Well, of course, because there's people who fucking don't give a fuck about comedy. They don't give a fuck about comics. They don't care about the art. They just fucking are egotistical, and they just want shine and money. Like, I see it all the time. Like, how you gonna make, there's cats that might get like a room, okay, for like $250. Let's say they rent out the room for $250. It seats about 250 people. Now, they done made a good chunk of money. So, of course, we gonna be like, well, he produced the show, he put the show together. Of course, he should get the larger amount. There's no reason that I should just be paying you $10 or nothing at all when I'm getting a whole door. Like, there was a comic who used to do like his name and friends, and he would book all the comics. You would drive all the way out to East Mabumfuck for $0. And, it was for, quote,
I love
exposure.
how polite you are, and you won't name it.
I
love how fucking polite you are.
I try to be cool, like, you know what I'm saying?
He's
but
at the bag.
I'm all about transparency.
You and Day. Because Day don't give a fuck. Like, we
because we produce
Day and I, you know why Day doesn't like me? Because he and I are so fucking similar.
Yeah, y'all are like, it's like Ebony and Ivory.
If Day was a good comedian, we'd be the same person.
If John bathed more often, we would be the same person.
See that shit?
That's true.
But no, like a lot of people would book a lot of gigs like that, and then you would get paid nothing, and they were getting the whole door.
Oh yeah. So when you walk in, you see the ticket price, and that's the thing. When I was like coming up, that's the thing that I noticed. Like, you walk in the room, you see the ticket on the flyer, you see all these people in the fucking room, and like, I just crushed for 10 minutes, and I'm not getting paid a motherfucking thing. Like, and nobody here is getting paid a motherfucking thing. Like, and then the thing, like, I started to see people put shows on, and I'm like, and I would go to these shows, even like, fresh in, and I'm looking and I'm like, this is shitty. Like, like event planning was like one of those things that I always kind of did in some fashion. I threw parties at like, at college or whatever, and like, it was one of those things that like,
Yeah, Day thought Kid and Play was a documentary.
It was, and I'm looking at this show and I'm like, this is shit. Like, and I'm seeing what they're doing, and I'm like, we had named, old boy at the beginning of the podcast. And I'm looking at the show, and I'm like, this is, if he can do this, if he can do this here with this.
Can't do it anymore though, can he?
Not anymore. Get him out of here. But yeah, it was like, well, this could be done better. And I can actually pay people while we're doing it. And, that's how I got into it or whatever, with help through, Tim Ross. Was the first comic. He's part of the Race to the Coffin.
Tim Ross helped you do something?
Yeah, Tim Ross. He was the first dude.
I fucking love Tim Ross.
Oh, he's one of my
Tim,
favorite people in the world. But
yeah.
I can't imagine him helping anybody.
Well, he hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a show?" And then I didn't hear. It was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then I didn't hear from him for like 2 months. And I was like, "Hey, I got the show booked." And he's like, "All right, I'll be there." So, like, I loved him. But yeah, but that was the first, thing in it. But I mean, at that point, and that's the thing when you get into comedy, everybody that was on stage anytime before you, whether it was a day or a year or whatever, is like, your predecessor.
Yeah, they
and like
seem like giants to you. First,
yeah. I mean, like I was looking at like John and Tim and Alex, and I was like, man, these guys, like, and then I, realized fucking John. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a great scene. Producer show is a lot of fucking work. It is, putting in, and I'm appreciative, of the work that you do put in for the scene. You do make it a better fucking,
Oh yeah,
that's
I agree with that. You have to. Not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Not everyone can produce a show. I mean, you could say you want to throw one and try and book it and do the shebang, but it takes a specific type of person and comic to be able to do what you're doing. That's why I always say that, it's great.
Yeah.
I love that Alex DePula has the new show in Lawrenceville lined up. What's the name of the venue again?
The name of the show is Sit Down and Laugh, a stand-up comedy show. It is at the Unplanned Comedy Warehouse above Hop Farm in Upper Lawrenceville. It is starting weekly. It is going weekly April 1st for the Burning Bridges Comedy Festival, then every Saturday at 8 after that.
See? And then you guys have your rooms.
Yeah, I mean, we got Comptra or whatever. We have Playwrights and, we're looking, I mean, Arcade is expanding. We might, start fucking with Arcade a little bit.
Arcade's a nice venue.
We're going to start doing monthly shows down at the Hideout or whatever. But like I said, the thing I appreciate is the fact that you not only, partake in the culture, but you push the culture. Like a lot of people get much more exposure. They actually get paid. They get, like the scene grows as a result of your work. It's one thing to just show up and do your bit and that's cool.
Yeah.
I love all the comedians because without comedians, you wouldn't have that scene. But to have to look at the scene, because like I said, you were only when I got on stage, when me and Ed got into it about a year.
Yep.
And to see the way the scene has grown in the last, I'm going on the fifth year, this summer or whatever, and see the way that the scene has grown and the people that are growing it.
Yeah.
Because when I'm looking at the bigger guys or whatever, and they had this and the other, and then now I'm looking at it and it's my peers in a sense that are doing these things that are pushing the culture, and it's all jokes aside, I mean, John Dick, he really is a dick of a person, but I mean, I have a lot of respect, and at the at the
Can't even
core,
look me in the eyes.
at the core, he's a teddy bear or whatever, but like I said, I mean, it's for me, it's prideful. Yeah, I mean, cause same thing when I got on stage at first, you pulled us aside and was like, hey, this is the type of things that you're going to see. Yeah, I mean, I didn't sense that, you know what, fuck you, I'm trying to eat, and don't step on my toes, get the fuck out of here type of thing. And that's the thing that, from the very
Willie
beginning.
Lynch is my brother.
Yeah, I mean, and from the beginning, I was when I got into this, I was look, we need to run this like a business. You shouldn't just get on and, you should run it. And John Dick was one of the first people that, he got that early. He was
he started early with that.
This is a business. Yeah, I mean, this isn't just, this is for the art or whatever, but, we need to run this like a business and move the culture forward. And I've always had a respect as a result of that.
Yeah, because people do it backwards. A lot of guys will get to a certain point and then try and do the business after the fact. So when him starting the business, when you did.
Oh yeah, and I got a lot of shit for it, and which is totally fine. I remember getting so much shit from Conkle and stuff about just all the hopping in a van and not having any jokes going on tour, and it couldn't have been more right. But that's just how I was raised, man. I was raised in the punk rock scene. It wasn't about talent; it was about doing it.
Yeah.
And then I like to think that the talent or lack, or at least the jokes, talents might be a stretch of a word, but that the materials cut up with it, and I'm only 5 years deep into it, and I don't know, I'm really happy with where I am. And
you should be.
Yeah.
I think you
I'm
guys
not
should
happy.
Be. No, I don't think any comics ever really happy.
But I'm happy with where I am.
We're miserable
and things are getting
people.
easier. Things are getting easier. Booking's getting easier. Running these shows is getting easier. And I have my hands in all these different venues, and I have good relationships with all of them, and I couldn't be happier about that. And and I'm so happy to see my peers. A lot of them are still progressing and getting better, and the younger people who are doing it are progressing and getting better. It's my favorite thing to watch as a comedian get better.
It's funny, man, because every few years a new class comes in, and we were me and Crawford were talking about it because when I started, Crawford, T-Robe, Wysocki, Matt Mulchin, and a couple other guys. There's some guys that always just disappear every like 3 years, but like they were like
I've never heard of Matt Mulchin.
Oh no, Matt Mulchin started here and then he moved to LA, was doing comedy in LA, had a very popular podcast out there and stuff. So he's actually like a really dope comic that was originally from here. But that was one of the class that, you know, people that left. In my class, it was like Nick Milton, Mo Mosich.
I know Mick.
You know, Conkle.
Tim Diamond.
Tim Diamond was one of them. You know, so we had like a really dope class. Wysocki and them were like the big brothers.
My class,
then Billy Elmer and them were like the Godfathers.
Yeah.
You know
I love
what I'm saying?
the class that I'm part of. I got all the Race the Coffin guys, which is Tim Ross, Alex Apila, Jesse Irvin, Shannon Norman, but also guys like Ray Zawadney and a few others that are just like right there the same amount of time in. And I like James J. Hamilton and a few other people are just like all part of that like same like time wise that group, and it's a pretty cool class to be a part of. I like that,
and I like your class too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like all the
you
shows
guys were a part of that class.
He came in a little after. I'd throw him and Ed in there. Yeah.
Okay,
me and Ed
and
came in like near the tail end of
Shannon
that.
was doing stuff for a long time, but like stand up wise,
he
he
didn't start
started
getting serious until about
around the same
when I
time.
started. Yeah,
so I would put Shannon in that class too.
I think Shannon and I did Pleasure Brothers for the first time the first same night.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, a large port, like I think most of the comics that I book are in that like class or whatever. I've just started to get like now our the headliners that we always choose are from like the class beforehand,
Yeah,
or, before. Yeah, I mean,
the
Conkles and the the Robes and whatnot. But like to be able to book so many good comics and have so many quality shows, like I mean, and because my thing, like you said, it's quality first. So like when I book, I don't book friends. Like it's like I don't
either.
Yeah, I might like you as a person, but I'm not gonna book you for a show. Yeah, so to be able to put on a quality show. And like I said, 3 years in, with the playwrights, me with the drinking partners that we've been doing for 2 years now that we've been doing the shows, I think we've just started kind of repeating, and we still have some folks to kind of get through that we haven't even put on stage yet. And that's all just like in that the James J's, the Shannons, like Tim Rosses and all that. It's absolutely like ridiculous the talent that is in this city right now.
The thing that I like about your class too is that, man, like you guys were like Crawford and Robe were kind of guys that, and Wysocki, I remember them being like really talented comics that you were just like, oh, these dudes are like fucking great. And they were like killing, especially like Crawford had this whole, like he was like the next Dennis Miller kind of thing because Dennis Miller is from here. So like people that started in that class were like kind of comparing.
Yeah.
But then we kind of went along with the rules, and I put air quotes on that, like the comedy rules of
I know what,
what to do in the clubs. And, we had the mentors telling us the shit from the 80s and the 90s.
That's not helpful.
And it's not, it is and it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like it's not to a degree because there's some people that specifically think they have to stay in that bubble.
Well, when you pigeonhole yourself like that and you get into and you're only trying to do the clubs, it's in this day and age, that is not the best way to go about it. If you can do clubs and do other stuff, that's fine. But
Absolutely.
Like if you're only trying to do club work, feature and stuff through Thursday through Sunday, you're never gonna make it.
Yeah,
not anymore.
There's like
too many fucking people.
You'll get like twice a month, or if you're lucky, or like 3 times a year, because like he's saying, the clubs there's so many fucking comics now. Like everybody wants to be a comic. You guys were the first class to be what I call the fuck you class. And that's the class where you were like, yo,
I'm the president of that class.
Like you guys were the ones that were like, fuck you, we're doing business this way. This is what we want to do. Then people would be like, well, you guys won't get X, Y, and Z. And you were like, fuck you, we're going to make our own X, Y, and Z over here. Thank you. So I
got top 3 in the improv contest a year and a half ago, and I still haven't got my weekend. Hear that, Wintis? Put down your fucking Thor dolls and book a comic from Pittsburgh.
I think I need to leave now. This motherfucker is fucking hilariously reckless.
Yeah,
You got-
I feel you. But, I mean, the only
Again,
reason.
the fuck you class.
I mean, he doesn't book me. What's he gonna?
no,
What's he gonna do? Book me
no,
less?
It's fucking funny because you fucking.
Yeah, no,
I'll email him tomorrow. Give him my veils.
That's the beauty of it. Like, what are you gonna do? Not book me? Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what those guys. You mentioned someone like Stanhope, and there's other guys. The Stanhope is like the king of like the DIY as far as comedy goes, and punk band's been doing it for decades. But like him and a few other guys, like, and Jeff Tate was talking about this last time he was in town. If you give it to the point where you don't need them, and you get to the point where they want you, which is where Tate is at, like, that's the goal. Like, and you don't ever let them dictate what you're doing. Like, you might want to work in the club, but it's a fucking chess match, man. You can't let them have the upper hand. They'll never have the upper hand with me. They also may not ever want me. But I'm just saying, but if it ever gets to the point where they do, it'll be on my terms.
It'll be on your terms. Well, I think that's the key to building a beautiful brand is that, you know, you got to think about all the people who, like Steve Jobs, had to leave a brand to build.
I do compare
a
myself
brand
to Steve
himself.
Jobs pretty often. Only because I'm gonna die in my 50s, but I do get a lot of those comparisons.
But yeah, I mean, you feel me? Like I always say this, like, I know it's a fucking Dark Knight quote, but I flip it around and me and Robe talk about it all the time because, you know, the thing is, you can open for people all you want. And then I had a lot of people go, well, you stop opening for people. Why aren't you opening for this person, that person when they come in town? I was like, I've done that for like 5-6 years. After a while, you either going to die opener or you're going to live long enough to be a headliner. Yeah. So it's like, what do you want to do?
You kill yourself for saying that.
That's why I said it's going to be a fucking Dark Knight quote. So don't quote me on my Dark Knight quote, but you can quote me on that shit.
Oh, man, I wish you would finish your Two-Face impression and die.
As I'm flicking a fucking bottle cap in here like, John Dick, you made it out of here alive this time. No, but no, like real shit, man. You know, you either want to build your brand and be the man, or you just going to continue to just fucking kiss ass and work with open for the man.
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely have to take shit in your own hand at some point, and just sitting by and waiting for a phone call isn't gonna do it. It doesn't matter what you do, and that's the thing that's long running on this podcast. Whatever entrepreneurial thing that you do, we consider all artists small businesses. You have to do it your fucking self. Find a way. If somebody isn't giving you a way, then find a way. The waiting place is a terrible place to be, and you will always be waiting there. As an artist, demand money. Like, don't fucking do a paid show. Like, if you're still fucking doing a paid show 4 or 5 years into the unpaid gigs, 4 or 5 years into this shit.
I mean, yeah. You need to at least have something. Like, there's gonna be times where you do some shit. No.
If I fucks with somebody,
he's not saying don't ever do an unpaid show.
Yeah,
he's saying like
if you're getting paid more often than not.
Exactly.
Yeah, like if you're 5 years in and you're
still mostly, do it like
doing.
I said,
I'm at the point where doing a free show is very uncommon for me.
It's a favor for somebody. Like I just happen to
charity,
charities and shit like that. Like it happens. Like
you do the charity shows. You can brag about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then
well, there's somebody that was 10 years. Like, there's a couple people that been like doing it for like 10, 12 years, and they still been doing the open mic contest.
I mean,
like the guys I started with.
Who?
Like, multiple people. I'm trying to think of some names. Like, that's how bad it is.
Well, I mean,
those cats don't try though.
No. It's like, that's why I said, like, you're always going to have those people in your class that come back every like 3 years.
They come in with,
and they be like, "Hey, I'm back," and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah, some people just want to put comedian on their Facebook page.
Yes,
and then they want their pictures with the improv.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then
that's their profile.
That's literally all that they do.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is that like
they did one show a year.
If you're not getting paid at this point, then you should probably, if you're 4 or 5 years and you're not getting paid, you should probably quit. But if you are going to be in it,
there's so many people I wish I could tag with what you just said.
You have to demand it. Like, nobody's going to just reach out to you and be like,
people just don't have it, man, and it's fine.
No. But like there's some talented people that don't like have respect for themselves, and that's not just even comedy.
Well,
Well,
that's
what he
we're-
said, they don't have it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
There's an it.
Well, that's
Yeah, they
not the
don't-
it I was talking. That's a different it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a weird hump when you because you don't know when it is when you're beginning at any art. But we're talking about comedy, obviously, and you get to the point where you maybe get one book show or one page show. At what point do you become like a real person, start turning it on and promoting yourself?
Yeah.
And that's a big hump to get over. If you're a reasonable, not insane human, it's weird to start talking about yourself all the time. And you have to become a self-promoter, and you have to get over it. It has to happen. And the it that I was talking about,
never had that.
I know you've never had that, but normal people who aren't in severe narcissists do. And I had it for a little bit, and I'm a pretty deep narcissist myself. And I can only imagine what a normally adjusted person, how much the struggle that they have. But you have to get over that. But the it that I was talking about comedically. Some people do not have it.
You know, I know,
absolutely
and
not.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
some people, and that's why I said like those people should just quit. But there are people that are.
Part of me believes that. Part of me is like, well, it's also your hobby. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but there are people that, like, again, either whether it's comedy or whatever artistic, or whether entrepreneurial endeavor that you're doing, there is the getting in your foot in the door with exposure, or whatever. But at some point, you as an artist have to say, I demand to be paid for my work.
They don't get it.
and
They
it's tough when you start because they're like this might be the first year where I'm just like, I'm not doing any free shit at all whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, like, unless again, I mean, those rare occasions, with charities or whatever. But like, don't hit me up. Like, I got a message a couple of days ago, and somebody was like, "Hey, yeah, look, you guys want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, what's your budget?" And he's like, "I didn't know you wanted to be paid." The fuck you mean you didn't know?
The person that booked you said that
No,
shit?
he didn't book me. He hit us up and was like, "Oh, you wanted to like do this thing or whatever?" Like, oh, and I was like, "Yeah, well, what's your budget?" And he's like, "I didn't know you wanted to be paid. I thought it just like for some cross promo." What the fuck made you? What made you? You see what we've been doing, like, I mean, and what made you think you could hit me up and get some free work out of it? Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that as an artist, a lot of people will just go, you know what? Because there was a point where I never turned down anything. It doesn't matter how much money it was. It didn't matter like what. I was just there.
There's always that point.
Yeah, and then there's a point where it's like, man, like I'm actually doing fairly well. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm making somebody else more money or whatever. Like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean?
Well, that's earning it. That's getting earning
well,
chops
and
or whatever.
then, but
Makes sense.
when you start saying no, it feels weird. It feels counterproductive. It's like, and you're always thinking like, man, what if I would have just been in that room?
I turned on the charity show 6 weeks ago. I was like, I'm not doing that. It sounds terrible.
Yeah, like I'm like, but like, because there were so many opportunities that had come about from being on stage and like meeting people in a room somewhere, and then
Or
when
doing
I'm
a
like,
free show and shit.
Yeah,
like
it
you be in the
might
right
have been-
place at the right time.
Yeah, 'cause
I've
I-
had that many times.
we only got Contra because I was at a charity event that I was hosting, you know what I mean? And he was at the table and was like, I have this fucking theater. So like anytime I turn down a show, I'm always, that's in the back of my head, is like, what opportunities am I maybe missing? But at the same time, if you really are good at what you do, then you have to demand that, and those better opportunities will present themselves, and the paid opportunities will present
You
themselves.
can't not work as hard as well, I want to say I do. I don't want to speak for you. You can't work as hard as we do, and then get to a point. You have to make the decisions. You can't really like, what could that have led to? Because chances are, things don't lead to anything almost always.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gamble, but if someone ain't gonna pay you, man, you ain't missing out on shit. That's how I look at it. Like if a motherfucker's be like, "Yo, John Dick, come do this show for free," and fucking wherever, you know what I'm saying, in a basement in Lawrenceville, you're gonna be like, "Okay, no," because he don't have to no more.
Yeah.
He got his paid shit, just like you. If it's a free night where you ain't doing shit, you want to work
already
material.
be in a basement in Lawrenceville. So I might as well.
Getting paid for it.
Might as well just go.
Is it down the street? Just
Yeah.
throw me a beer.
Oh, you know what? I'm already there. Just set up the show around me. I'll just sit here.
That's so funny.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, the thing that is reoccurring on the podcast is, promote yourself, run yourself like a small business, have respect for yourself, demand to be paid, and if you are a vulture who only thrives off of the hard work of other people, go fuck yourself, rapist. So John, John.
God damn!
That's the beauty of the internet, and that's the beauty of not having Ed right there.
You'll never hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he has friends that own things.
Yo, Buzzy gonna edit the shit out of this podcast.
No, he won't.
No,
Buzzy don't like him either.
No,
That's so funny.
John,
I don't
man.
know anyone.
So tell us,
Fucking Terry.
where they can find you, the Comedy Fest. Race to the Coffin.
BurningBridgesFestival.com. You can get all tickets to all shows at BurningBridgesFestival.com. All the schedules up, all the headlining shows, all the information you need is at BurningBridgesFestival.com. You can find me. I'm at John Dick Winters on any social media. And Race to the Coffin has a Facebook page and also has RaceToTheCoffin.com.
Sweet. Terry,
My man.
Where can he find you?
Hey, you can find me at TJonesPOC on Twitter, IG, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Download Limbo Negro or stream it. It's available on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Amazon Music. It's now on Pandora. So, yeah, make sure you take a listen to that.
If you get Terry's phone number and you dial from an old school phone, you can just hear it.
Definitely need a hotline. You gotta get a Limbo Negro
Yeah,
hotline.
one of those red
Limbo
rotary
Negro
phones like the president used to have on his desk to call Russia. And then you can I say Limbo Negro? Am I allowed to say?
Negro
you
is
can
a it's
You
a
know,
white
now,
friendly
Richard-
term.
Richard Pryor had the fucking crazy album
Yeah,
titles
yeah.
where like he would go on Tonight shows and they'd be like, well, what if I said? He'd be like, I'll fucking kill you.
Anthony Jeselnik had a great joke in one of the roasts to Patrice O'Neal. He's like, Patrice O'Neal is, what do you say? Like he's the only person up here who can be described by the name of an old Richard Pryor record. And only Richard Pryor and only Patrice O'Neal got it. He said, there's too many white people here to get that. And Jeselnik said, too many white people? You know what you hear people never say? Too few black people. It's one of my favorite exchanges of all time.
Oh, yo, and Patrice was the fucking.
Oh my
he's
God,
the
Patrice
god.
is so fucking
He's the
amazing.
This has been awesome. Thank you guys for coming. Shout out to Ed. He was in the studio a little
Eddie
earlier.
B.
Yo, that was so dope that he walked
That was
in,
a
man.
man.
Man, yo, he walked on stage a couple weeks ago, and that shit just blew.
Oh, you guys
my-
talking about Ed. I was talking about Camille. She's real cute. I was talking about his wife.
She is more likable. But shout out to Ed. He will be back shortly. I want to thank our guest, John Dick Winters, our guest host, Terry Jones, for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro,
man,
because
this was
this was big shoes to fill with Ed being gone. So, you know, Ed is a great comic, and, you know, we're wishing him the best through his recovery. It was so dope seeing him walk in the studio with that energy.
He did
like,
that, man.
like
He
he
keeps
just
doing
like
that to
walked
me,
in a
man.
room and the energy just fucking like sparked up.
He keep doing that shit. I didn't know he was coming to the Comptra. He just walked the fuck in while I was on stage and shit. Like, I got all emotional in front of people. I don't like that shit. And then he came in today and shit. Like, he ain't calling me like, yo, I'm coming through. He actually sent me text messages about the shows or whatever. Then he just walked the fuck in. I think he likes fucking just that fucking look on my face.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ed, man.
Yeah, God bless him.
I do love Ed, but I was really happy to do this podcast, and sports didn't come up at all. Do appreciate that not happening.
Speaking of Ed, the benefit, man, hop on purplepass.com/Bailey Fund. 8 brewers, food, raffles with the what do you call those things? The baskets or whatever. I forget the name of those
Chinese
things.
auction basket.
The auctions, yeah, the silent auctions and shit
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. We got music. We got Billy Crawford coming through. We got Dom Shuck DJing. We got Millgroves Cross playing music or whatever. All that for $20, man. Purplepass.com/Bailey Fund. And as always, Drinking Partners is Epicast family.
Thanks for having me. John Dick Winters, fucking name. My man.
Epicast.